Welcome to the exciting and new podcast. I'm Jason.
I'm Andy.
And I'm Ryan.
And I'm Dana.
Yeah. She's Dana. And she's here to talk about Cujo.
Nice.
Rated R. Running time, an hour and 33 minutes. Theatrical release date, August 3rd, 1983. Directed by Louis Teague. I didn't know who Louis Teague was.
Did he do anything?
He has Cujo there in his top 4, along with Cat's Eye.
Another Stephen King.
The Jewel of the Nile.
The sequel to Romancing the Stone.
Alligator. That's one of those 1970
horror movies.
Yeah. He also did the 1997 TV movie Dukes of Hazzard Reunion.
Oh my gosh.
I thought that was interesting.
I never saw that.
I didn't see it either, but it's definitely something I thought about checking out.
So this is starting like our Halloween episodes.
Yeah,
right?
what did we call that last year?
I don't even remember.
It was like
our.
Yeah, did we have a name for
we
it?
did it. Had Alpenapalooza or something like that.
We'll have to
Oh
go
yeah,
back
Logan.
and look.
Didn't Logan?
Yeah,
come
Logan
up with
came up
something?
with it. I'll have to ask him.
Yeah,
when he gets a signal from the boat that he's on. But Stephen King wrote this, obviously.
He doesn't remember writing it because it was during his heavy alcohol and cocaine days.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah.
But this is like, there's a lot of Stephen King movies coming out in 1983.
Yeah. We got Dead Zone. We have Christine. That's it, right? Just those three.
And this. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing that these three all came out.
Yeah, this was
same year.
this was the time of
Sweet spot.
Stephen King. Yeah. IMDb description: Cujo, a friendly Saint Bernard, contracts rabies and conducts a reign of terror on a small American town. Donna Trenton, cool last name, is a frustrated suburban housewife whose life is in turmoil after her husband learns about her having an affair. Brett Camber is a young boy whose only companion is a Saint Bernard named Cujo, who in turn is bitten by a rabid bat. Whilst, I like that word, whilst Vic, Donna's husband, is away on business and thinking over his marital troubles, Donna and her 5-year-old son, Tad, take her Pinto to Brett Camber's dad's car shop. The car fails and Cujo is very, very sick.
I've never heard of anybody named Tad, and I was even looking it up as I was watching it last night. I was like, Tad. I'm like, what's that short for? Because she kept calling him Tatter.
Yeah, I heard
And I'm like,
that.
is that really what his name is, Tatter, or is that a nickname for something?
The band Tad. You never heard the band Tad?
Yes, but that's not a
The
person's
singer's name is Tad.
Oh, is it really?
Tad Doyle is his
Oh,
real name, yeah.
I'd never heard that in the context of
I think it's
anybody's
just
name before.
I thought it was like maybe a short for Thaddeus.
If it was that,
maybe,
that would have
mean?
made sense.
Yeah.
But they always kept calling her. She kept calling him Tatter, and I'm like,
Tatter, yeah. But
Huh.
I was in my head, I was like, he's probably a Thaddeus Trenton.
Yes.
in my
Sounds like-
mind,
it sounds
I was
nice,
saying,
right?
why does she keep calling him that? Stop calling him that.
Some of the taglines for this were, now there's a new name for terror. Who let the dog out?
That was not a 1983 tagline for this movie.
Yes, it was. It was
that
on-
song
it was
wasn't
on-
even a thing
But
yet.
that doesn't mean that it was. That song wasn't a thing. But who let the dog out was a thing, because "Got to let the dogs out" was a saying back in the day.
Nah.
So
Maybe.
it wasn't it wasn't a song then, so it wasn't referencing that. But "Who Let the Dog Out" now is funnier because that song happened.
Yeah.
You know, "Unleash the Terror," or then from Stephen King's novel comes a chilling tale of a quiet New England town and a horrible evil in the dead of summer. It was hot. Iconic terror from the #1 best-selling writer. His bite is worse than his bark. Much, much worse. And sit, roll over, play dead, bad.
Now, was this
No, that's
supposed to
terrible.
take place in New England? Because
Well,
it
they
was,
have main
it was
license
Southern
plates.
California, the scenery.
They have,
Again, they had a
they
lot
have
of,
main license plates. Yes.
A lot of
really?
palm trees again.
Palm tree. Well, it's the rolling hills of Southern
Well,
California.
There's hills in Maine, and
Yeah.
Not like this.
they were right
This was
on the
desert.
Their
They were on a
house was
cliff.
like right on the water there. I thought that was kind of Maine looking.
Isn't everything
Yeah.
he writes pretty much?
I thought it looked like Maine, the house style.
Yeah, in the book, this takes place in. I think this is the first Castle Rock book. I think, but it's definitely in Maine in the book.
Didn't
Yeah.
Rob Reiner named his company Castle Rock after?
Well, where
Stephen
was
King's
was it
books.
filmed in Maine then? Because it
That I
really
do
looked
not
like
know.
California.
I don't know where it was.
I don't know where it was shot. Yeah, but I think you're right. That probably some of that scenery, those shots could have been taken in California. You know, just
I've been to Maine a lot, and it didn't look like Maine to me.
But this is one specific town. Maybe it's a very California-looking town in Maine.
That's true.
This was a very small town too. You might have been going to some bigger towns there in Maine when you were going, you know.
True.
Playing Donna Trenton was Dee Wallace.
I was really kind of excited when it said Dee Wallace in
Yeah.
Cujo. Like, man, good for her getting all that juice back
this
then.
Is not our first Dee Wallace rodeo. We've had her in E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
She was not the extraterrestrial, Brian.
No,
if you
we all
remember.
gave that really good scores. I remember.
She was
great
less slutty in that, too.
She wasn't banging the neighbor.
Yeah, with a sweaty lip.
Yeah, her lip was sweaty the whole time. Every
the whole
scene.
time.
She was married to that guy in real life. The guy
Which
plays
guy?
Steve Kemp.
Oh,
McCormick.
the guy she was hooking up with?
Yeah.
That was her husband in real life?
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Do you want to see? Do you remember her other top four?
I mean, she was
E.T. and Cujo.
Yeah, and she was a scream queen.
She was a scream queen.
Scream queen. She did the howling.
That whiskey getting to you already?
I had one beer. She had she did the howling, and she did
The howling is in there.
okay, and
the other one was a fun '80s Critters. Remember that one?
Critters. And I wouldn't have remembered she was in that. Okay,
I remember Critters. That was one of those ones I would rent from the video store.
There was like a really specific year that was like Critters, Gremlins, and Creatures, Ghoulies. And it was like all like one right after the other.
6-year-old Danny Pintaro played Tad Trenton.
He was so adorable.
This is our first
So cute.
Danny Pintaro.
Do you think they terrorized him to get him?
Yeah.
to
I
like
said
that?
to
Yeah.
Michelle, I was like, how are they making this kid scream like that? Mike, are they burning his feet? Like,
yeah.
that kid did some great acting.
He had some serious screaming. Like, I couldn't take that screaming.
I
And
turned
the way,
it down.
Even the way she went off that
Yeah.
one time in the car, that's how I would have went, I'll get your fucking dad. You know, she was like,
That is a mom right there.
know.
I've heard Michelle yell that a bunch of times. Wait till your fucking father gets home.
it wasn't even that because he was screaming for his
Yeah.
dad. Remember, I want my dad. I want my dad. She's like, I'll get your fucking dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt that. I wanted to say it.
Every
Like,
parent
I
has
felt
reacted like that to their child at least once.
Yeah.
And never in the situation that these people were
No.
in.
Who's the Boss? You want to guess how many episodes of Who's the Boss Danny Pintaro was in?
135.
135. Brian.
I'm going to say 100.
Nah. 8 seasons.
Oh, it was 8 seasons.
No, I'm guessing 8 seasons. It might have been 3. 8 seasons, 25 episodes a season. So is that 200?
196 episodes.
Wow. I didn't know it ran that long.
Yeah, me neither.
It was on all the
He was in
time.
all of them.
Because Alyssa Milano went from a
yeah.
little girl to a woman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was of the age where I would have noticed that. I mean, Brian's of the age now that he would have noticed that.
Cujo, and then the only other thing was a country Christmas harmony. He's not in a lot of
Did he like stop acting?
yeah, I don't think he does much now.
All right.
If
Good for
anything,
him.
yeah.
He was
Gets
a
all
good actor.
those residuals.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully he gets that.
on the
Yes.
196 episodes, all those residual checks rolling in probably.
Alyssa Milano kept working. And so did Tony Danza.
Yeah, well, she could take her shirt off and she was getting roles. So.
He was taking his shirt off and it was like, boo. Put your shirt back on there, boy.
Daniel Hugh Kelly played Vic Trenton.
I know him from one other thing.
I was going to say, I think I know where you know him from.
Hardcastle McCormick, which I don't think I ever watched, but I saw the commercials all the time.
I
when
love
Was that
that
TV
show.
show?
It was like a detective show. Or
Yeah.
something like
He was
that.
also in Cujo in his top 4.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
The
correct.
Good Son was in his top 4.
Oh, the Macaulay Culkin one? Okay, I
Yep,
never
and
saw that.
Star Trek Insurrection.
Yes, he was the father in that for sure. Yeah. That was the worst of the Next Generation movies.
Playing
Protect the Planet. F. Murray Abraham was one of the bad guys. So.
playing Steve Kemp was Christopher Stone.
And that's her husband?
That's her husband.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Interesting.
He died young, 1995, of a heart attack. He was only 55.
Damn.
Was it because he was married to Dee Wallace?
Probably. Probably.
Were they still married then? You don't know.
I didn't get all that info. Yeah.
He was very Chuck Norris looking in
He
this.
did have some Chuck
Yeah,
Norris
he had that
going,
bowl
yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
And the big
The high
full beard.
pants and the a little buff, but like with the chest, he just reminded me of Chuck
Early
Norris.
80s buff.
Yeah.
Which was like
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
fat, but like
Yeah.
also a little muscular.
Yes.
Until
exactly.
Arnold showed up, everybody's like, I'm fit. Look at my arms.
Yeah.
Then Arnold showed up and everybody's like, oh. I guess I got to try harder. I don't even. The only other person I knew. Oh no, that's not true. I knew 2 other people in this movie. I don't know if you have them.
I know. I still got more people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ed Lauder. He played Joe Camber.
Him I knew.
He looked familiar, but I didn't.
You probably remember him from Not Another Teen Movie. He played the coach.
He was the coach, and as soon as I saw him, I was like, "God damn it, get that guy out on the field!" And God damn it, right. Every sentence began with "God damn it." He was so good.
He was also in Real Genius.
Okay.
And 1976 King Kong. He was in the 1976
Wow, really?
King Kong.
Wow. I've seen that recently too. I don't remember him from that. Is he still alive? Do you know?
He died in 2013, 74. Guess what he died from?
Heart attack?
Mesothelioma.
Oh, people still die of that, huh?
Commercials for
Was he working in some kind of
He
like
might have been working in
factory?
asbestos, probably in King Kong set in 76.
Well, he was working around all those cars. Maybe there's asbestos in those cars.
Kayulani Lee played Charity Camber.
The
His
wife,
wife?
I
That was the
assume.
wife, yeah.
I hate Caillou, by the way. That's one of the worst children's shows
Absolutely, I
of all
agree,
time.
100%.
Yeah,
It's horrible.
hate it. But anyway, I don't recognize her. She had a very distinctive
She played in
look
The World
too.
According to Garp.
Yeah, okay, I saw that, but a long time
Cujo
ago.
was in her top 4, but then A Civil Action and The Fan.
The Fan with De Niro and Wesley
think
Snipes.
so, yeah.
Wow, man. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen that too, but
Then I have Billy Jane. He played Brett Camber. That was the little boy.
Yeah. I knew him from.
you do know him
Now I
from.
forgot.
Yes,
Where
you
do
do know him from.
What do you know him
He's a
from?
little older,
No, a
Where do you know
little
him from?
younger.
a little younger.
Yeah.
Natalie and Blair, was he on that?
Facts of Life.
Facts
Facts
of
of
Life.
Life? No.
It was a movie that I know very well.
A couple
I feel
movies.
like
His TV show also.
Was he in the TV show too?
He's in a TV show that
Different than the movies that he was in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
and I looked it up because I had to remember where I know him from. I already forget. But I was like, oh yeah,
He's from Bad News Bears. He's
The TV
Rudy
show.
from Bad News Bears.
it was something else I knew him from. Then
he's a TV show Bad News Bear.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
was he in a?
Oh, he wasn't in the movies either?
He wasn't
Oh,
in the
no, he
movie.
wasn't.
Oh, the one with the girl who dressed up like a guy. She was the brother.
just
Yes,
my
thank
luck.
you.
Just
one of the guys.
Just one of the
Yeah.
He
guys.
was the
Guy.
best
Guy.
friend. That's what I
Correct.
knew him
Very
from.
good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very good.
Thank you.
Wow, how'd you pull that out of your ass all of a sudden?
Cujo, obviously. But the Burbs.
Yes, and the
Oh,
Burbs.
wow,
He was the
okay.
annoying little kid
Yep.
that. Yeah.
He was also in 73 episodes. Every episode of Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Oh, I used to watch that.
Never watched
I did.
that.
He was he was in Silver Spoons. Can you tell me how many episodes of Silver Spoons
Were we talking about
Billy
that?
Jacoby or Billy Jane was in?
Man, like I'm gonna say 4.
I don't remember Silver Spoons that much. I mean, I watched it, but
Just pick a number.
10.
I'm going to say 15.
You're very close. 18 out of 116
I don't remember him being
episodes.
on.
Wow.
Was he like a recurring character? Was
He was in one
military
season.
best
friend
One
or something
season
like
he
that?
was one of the friends. Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting.
Back to that Bad News Bears TV series. Did you know Jack Warden played Morris Buttermaker and Corey Feldman played Reggie?
Oh, I mean, I remember Jack Warden definitely
Yeah.
playing the coach, but I did not remember.
Yep,
Corey
and he was
Feldman
in
that.
Corey Feldman was in all 26 episodes.
It was only one season, huh?
I don't remember it.
I love that Bad News Bears TV show, but I didn't know he was only Rudy in the. Yeah, I guess like Rudy was very nerdy in the.
That was 79 to 80.
oh
Good
that's
stuff.
why I don't remember it.
Oh my god!
Playing
Too
Gary
young.
Gary
was
Pervier
two.
was Mills Watson.
Who's this?
Gary Pervier.
Oh, the
played
jerk off neighbor,
Oh, the hoarder guy?
the guy who said, "Yeah, your dog's not threatening." Who he couldn't kill anybody. I was like, "This fucker's dead first." First.
And then he was telling him, I don't give a fuck. Why, or I don't give a shit. Why are you telling the dog you don't give a shit?
Yeah, and then
He
he,
doesn't
just let him come
understand.
at you.
And then he killed you. Like,
Good.
He was the
Stupid.
first one killed, right?
yeah, he
Yeah.
deserved it. I did tell Tara. I was
I
like,
agree.
he's
I
a
remember what he was
pedophile in the
from.
making. I just
Yeah.
felt it in my bones.
And plus, he was dumping his garbage just over a fence on his property. Just
Yeah, I didn't understand
dumping
that.
I'm like,
He wasn't
is
making
that not in your house now? I guess
It's not like he was making a compost or anything either. That was
It was
that was
canned.
It was just junk. Yeah.
He was from Sheriff Lobo.
Sheriff Lobo. Wow, I never saw Sheriff Lobo, but I remember Sheriff Lobo.
He was in Up in Smoke,
Claude Atkins was Sheriff Lobo, I think.
Okay.
He was a deputy.
but he was in the Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke and the $6 Million Man. I have him in.
Was he really?
Mhm.
Okay. I love $6 Million Man.
He was like a steady 80s actor.
Sheriff Bannerman, which is a name that Stephen King used in several.
He was
of his,
the sheriff until he
novels.
died
Yeah.
in this movie. He was the sheriff in Carrie, and he was the sheriff in Dead Zone, and then died in this one.
Yep.
Oh.
And then Sheriff, Porgbone, I don't know, whoever Ed Harris played in the Dark Half, and man, the next sheriff, took this guy's place.
Do you want to try the sheriff's top 4? He died in 2005 at 78.
Didn't even recognize him.
All right, so he was in Cujo, but The Perfect Storm, Under Siege, Airplane 2, the sequel, but also he was in 11 of 151 episodes of Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh.
And he was in 2 episodes of Seinfeld where he played Pop Lazari. Remember when George, the neighbor, and he's fixing the car and they think he's going crazy?
Yes.
Yeah,
that's it. He's Pop, huh?
He's Pop.
That's when he breaks George's car. Oh, wow. Okay. That's with
Yeah, and he was like, when he's driving in the car later, George is like, hears the noise, and George goes, "Pops!" He just yells, "Pops!" The last person I have is Mason. He played Jerry Harden. He played Mason. I'm sorry.
What character was that?
I forget who that was.
Was that the mechanic, the
the old
first
guy.
mechanic, or the mailman?
I want to say
With the guy's partner, McCormick's partner.
Oh my God. By the way, we got to talk about that, but go on.
I don't know who he was, but he was married to his wife for 64 years. He's 93 years old. He's still alive. They're both still alive. They're married 64 years in October. He's known from Big Trouble in Little China, The Firm, The X-Files, Cujo, and 4 episodes of Melrose Place.
I don't know who that was.
Yeah.
I don't remember
But
who that was
being married
either.
to his wife for 64 years. I mean, like, and what's the reward? Just death? And then you're dead for forever?
Yep.
Life is not fair, man. Life is just not fair. You are so faithful. You've been married to your wife for 64 years, and now you're dead.
And he got married at 29. He didn't even get married young.
Not young,
at
right?
64 years.
Yeah.
Maybe they're swingers.
Maybe.
Yeah. You never
I like
know.
how you think.
Yeah.
I only got married at 30
Did
because
you
I
have
thought I'd be
anybody
dead
else
by
with a kid?
40. No.
I caught everybody there that you wanted to get then?
Yeah. Maybe. Let me double check.
Sit, roll over, play dead. Bad.
So at the very beginning of this movie, we meet Tad in his bedroom.
Tatter?
Tatter.
Tatter.
And he's like closing the closet door, and he's doing that thing that everybody at 5 years
Afraid
old
of,
does.
Yes,
doing
I love that.
I how fast can I run where I
to the
turn
bed.
this light off and I get into the bed?
Did you see the false start he had? I
Yeah.
love the false start.
There were a
It's
couple.
great,
He
yeah.
was like, no, but like, where were the parents? The parents aren't putting him to bed.
Yeah.
Like at first, I'm like, is this not Dee Wallace's kid? Because why aren't they just like scooping him up bedtime?
Because it was
Tatter?
the 80s.
I guess.
Kids took care of themselves.
There was a scene in this that was the 80th scene in the 80th, but I'll get to that later because it's in my notes. But yeah, I was really shocked that like they weren't putting him to bed.
Yeah.
He was just on his own, and no 5-year-olds because I guess I'm going to bed now. No, you just stay up until you fall asleep.
But I really felt that run, and then how the bed was now a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
When even to this day, when I go up the stairs from the bottom floor and I'm hitting the lights and I have to walk up those stairs with all that darkness behind me, it still gives me like the chills up my back.
These steps right here, I could be asleep over on that couch for like 4 hours because I watched something, fell asleep. But as soon as I get to these steps, I'm like, the thing that could have killed me while I was sleeping on that couch, now it's going to get me.
That's how it always works, though.
You know, it's really weird that Cujo came out the same year that Christine, directed by John Carpenter. And
John Carpenter had the option to direct this, but he chose that instead.
And then we had Carrie by Brian De Palma, right?
Yes.
Like there were a lot of really like high profile guys. They weren't high profile yet, but they were going to become high profile guys. But this guy was a kind of a nobody.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he did the Dukes of Hazzard 1997 reunion. But, you know,
they used
him.
For this movie, they used 5 St. Bernards, and they had 1 mechanical head and a man in a dog costume.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they got
those man in the dog costumes must have been the real close up because I don't know how you make a dog that's not vicious act as vicious as Cujo acted here.
I felt they did a really good job, and he I don't know when it was a mechanical head versus I think in the window scenes where it was trying to get in, but I kept looking for the man in the suit or in a dog suit, but I never could pick out that's the guy in the suit. So I don't know what scenes.
Because I don't think you're going to see the whole body.
Yeah.
It'd probably just be the head.
You're just going to see
It's probably a guy with a
part,
head on his hand and just smash
and maybe
it into the
maybe
window.
the front
Yeah.
paws, if that, you know.
Tara kept looking up. She's like, "How are they doing this?" And one of the
I
things
kept
was
saying the same thing. Like,
there
how
was
are
a
they
guy
doing
in the
this?
car with the dog's favorite toy, like
they
playing with it or whatever.
They put the favorite toys inside to get attack the car.
Yeah.
And the foam around Cujo's mouth.
Oh, and
was,
that pus.
They used it was a concoction of egg whites and sugar.
Ew.
Yeah, that like yellow crap like right around his eyes.
And it
Yeah.
caused they had problems because the dogs kept eating it. It was so sweet and tasty. They
Yeah.
were
It must
enjoying
be
you know what I mean?
it must be a nightmare doing a movie with kids and dogs. Oh my god!
I know.
Like the director's probably looking at D. Wallace like, I don't know what we're doing here. Just like
Talking about Danny Pintaro again, he actually bit Dee Wallace's fingers during his seizure scene.
Oh,
That was her,
she
she
said-
reacted.
her real
Yeah,
reaction
she did. Okay.
of him biting her fingers during that scene.
that's awesome.
He was good. I would say
He
that
was
kid.
really good.
I was feeling for him, and it definitely. I was anxious the entire freaking time, and I've seen this before. I didn't remember a lot of it, other than whatever, but he made me feel very, very anxious, and I felt like he was really scared.
Yeah.
It was very. At one point, I was like, I think I need to hit pause because I don't know if I can finish this. But for
it's
you
really
guys,
sad
it kept
because
going.
I mean Cujo was a nice dog,
I know.
and he just couldn't get his head out
That's
of
why
that
they
stupid
then
hole.
made Beethoven because
Yeah.
I didn't remember he was a for Saint Bernard. I thought it was some type of mastiff until I watched. It's like, oh, and in his room he had on his dresser he had a stuffed
Saint Bernard. Yeah.
on his dresser.
Who
I thought
did?
it-
Danny?
Yeah, Tad.
did?
Tad.
Did he
Tad.
really? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't see that. Tad.
Yeah, Tatter had it. Tara pointed out. She's like, hey, Saint Bernard.
My biggest problem with this movie was, so the cereal that the dad, I don't remember his name in this movie,
Yeah.
was promoting. All of a sudden, people started complaining of internal hemorrhaging from eating a cereal. And at first, I'm like, internal hemorrhaging. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? But I guess it was just because the dye of the cereal
the
was
red
red,
dye.
and they were pissing blood or pissing red. And I'm like, that's not the
His fault,
advertising
yeah.
agency's fault. That is the cereal's fault. Why are these guys circling the wagons? Like, we got to go on a 10-day
I thought that was
business
strange
trip.
too. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
so 80s, also a 10-day business trip. Now this is a Zoom call. You're not
Mm-hmm.
leaving your bedroom. And I was just shocked. I'm like, why are these guys freaking out? Just because the guy on the commercial goes, I don't see a problem with it, or
Yeah.
whatever he was saying. And they're freaking out that the thing's causing internal hemorrhaging, or it's not. It's making people think they are, but that's not the advertising people's fault. Like, what's the advertising campaign supposed to be knowing this now? You might think you're pissing blood, but you're not. Yummy, yummy. So I don't get why they were freaking out. They should be like complaining to the cereal company, but that was just the whole time that was going on. And he's like, I gotta, we're going to lose the account. I'm like, why? Did they tell you people are going to piss blood and you didn't make that part of your advertising campaign? That was dumb.
That was fun though.
It was fun the way they reacted to it, but it made no sense in the real life,
Oh,
in
no.
the real
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
The kid had a Pac-Man lunchbox.
Oh, I didn't
fun.
catch that.
I saw the Pac-Man lunchbox because I've been recently looking at lunchboxes on Etsy.
Well, I did pay attention because him and I would have been the same age in '83. I was 5 or 6. I was 5, and they did a brief glimpse of his lamp, and I had the same lamp as a child. It was a clown lamp, and the clown had a top hat, and he's
Did they have
carrying balloons, and the balloons are the lamp, and the top 5 balloons popped off to change a light bulb, and I probably had that lamp till I was like 12 because my mom didn't update my room very often. But yeah, it was the same lamp, and him and I were the same age, so I felt like that was me. Like that could have been my room
Yeah.
in the 80s.
And that could have been you in the back
I
of a
know.
Pinto.
I know.
I've
And
had
I think my mom had a car like that too with a hatchback. Yeah.
Um,
Could've been me.
I've had the same lamp by my bed for 15 years now since I moved to this house. So from 5 to 12 doesn't sound that
D.
bad.
Wallace.
Yeah, but it was a childish lamp. I took a screenshot because I needed to show it to my sister. Sent it to my sister. I'm like, do you remember this lamp? But yeah, that was the lamp I had.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was,
okay.
That was a little bit too old for a 12-year-old.
Dee Wallace was married to the guy that played Steve Kemp from 1980, June 28th, 1980 to his death in October.
Oh, so she was with him when he
October of
died
95, yeah.
of the heart attack.
Yep.
So she did drive him to death. was all her
We
fault.
confirmed it. Yeah.
Breaking news here on the Exciting New Podcast. 27 years after his death, or
We're going to pull up D. Wallace on charges.
I really hated the Gary guy, the way he was talking to Cujo.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what
basically-
you were talking about
Yeah.
earlier, how he was like
He's telling
saying,
the dog, I don't give a shit. Like,
I don't give a
What?
shit. The dog's like, oh, you don't?
I know.
No, but like when they were at when he was at the house with when he was visiting Joe, was Joe
Talking about the bender
dad?
they were going to go on.
Yeah, and like
Oh,
he's
he's
like,
like,
don't worry. He's like,
Bourbon.
Broad bourbon.
he's like,
Yeah,
he won't bite you.
baseball.
And he's like, I don't fucking care. I'm like, this guy, and that's what I said to Michelle. I'm like, well, we know who's dying first,
Yeah.
but like that guy was such a reprehensible character.
She's like,
And
I want to go away.
the Joe guy,
For 1 week.
the Joe guy in the book was much worse. Like he was like an abusive husband and father and stuff like that. They didn't really. He wasn't
Yeah.
that. He
I
wasn't a
kind of
bad
got
guy.
that feel
Yeah,
because when she packed the picture frames, I was like, oh, she's leaving him.
Yeah,
And then I was like, he must.
but he never
Left that out.
hit her or
Yeah.
the kid. I mean, he just kind of did the, verbal,
Yeah, he
verbal
was a-
abuse.
Jerk, yeah.
He didn't even like the present she got him.
No.
What was the present?
She got him
Oh.
and lifted up the
Lift
end.
it.
Oh,
and
the
yeah.
the lifter thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not.
It's like, I got you a
car guy.
present.
That must have cost a pretty penny too.
She only won 5,000 in the lottery.
Yeah, that was a real weird kind of like thing that they threw in there.
Wasn't
Since
much.
she was a lottery winner.
I want to go away for
Did
one week.
There were 3 New Jersey winners in the Powerball this week. Did anybody win $1 million?
But there was
Oh.
one winner in the big thing in California.
Can I tell you right
Oh.
now the Powerball numbers that won last night for the half a billion or $1.5 billion or whatever
No,
it was?
It was $1 billion.
It was at least a billion.
My birthday and my anniversary in those 4 of the 5
Get
numbers,
out.
7, 10, and 11, 13.
Wow.
And 1 day past Daniel's birthday. So if I'd actually like
Wow.
tried and wrote numbers down, I might be like a half a
You might have been
billion.
close to something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like, we're doing this fucking podcast from Hawaii.
What?
As soon as I woke up this
Would you
morning,
like to
I'm
be
like,
on that
Powerball winner 7, 10, 11, 13. I'm like, please don't be 23. Please don't be 23. And it was 24. I'm like, thank God, because that would have sucked. Or
Yeah.
it could have
Would
been
you
any
like
other
Would you like to be
random
on that
number.
episode if we're going to Hawaii for an episode? Do you want to be on that
yes,
episode?
please.
Well, just this is all we're doing. We're every
Dana
day.
wants to be on that episode.
Every day is we're just watching a movie, doing
We're
a
doing
podcast.
this from the beach in Hawaii. I think we could do this on the beach.
Will you be able to keep up with that pace?
No.
Why not? Well, you won't be doing anything else.
Well, if it was my only job,
Yes.
yeah.
That's what I'm
Yes,
saying.
everybody's just going to
Yeah.
Hawaii and podcasting for the rest of existence. So the thing I said was the most 80s thing of this movie was when the dad went and picked up Tad from his
Oh,
camp,
yeah.
and he just went up and grabbed him and pulled him
like,
away
"Come on."
and just let's go. I was like, no security, no sign out.
Yeah.
Problem
Where's
with
that
that
kid? Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, was the one lady like, shit, where's that little blonde kid? Like, what happened to him?
I have a problem with
No
that
one
scene.
cared. Yeah,
'Cause when
the
he-
problem was there was no security.
Yeah. Just like, yeah.
The problem I had with that scene was when the dad pulled up, Danny or Tad
Tad.
had paint all over his hands. He runs to his dad and hugs him. He had no paint all over his hands
Nah.
anymore. It was gone.
I just thought the
Where
lack
did
of
that
security-
paint go?
Maybe it was
On
quick
his
dry.
dad.
It didn't.
That would be great if the dad walked away.
I wanted it. He should have had it all over.
Handprints on his
That would have
hands.
been funny, yeah. And
I remember-
80s. It would have been very 80s.
I remember one of my teachers in 7th or 8th grade. She was writing on the chalkboard because back in the old days we had
Did she
chalk.
lean
and-
on it?
No. She like kind of like brushed it on her butt, and she just had a big handprint on her ass.
Her own
and then,
hand-
Yeah, and then she just started writing on the board again, and we're all like looking at this big handprint. Like, should we tell her? Of course, no one told her. So I was like, that poor lady's going around the rest
Oh,
of the day,
man.
just like, yo,
And she goes home
Danielle,
to-
like, who's
She
tapping
goes home.
you?
Her husband's probably like, "What did you do today?" Huh?
It was at the angle. I think she could have like been like, I think it's my
Stephen King has stated that he feels Dee Wallace gives the best performance in this film of any film or TV adaptation of his books, including Kathy Bates' Oscar-winning turn in Misery in 1990.
She
of
was
any of his
really
books.
good.
At what point? I mean, we
I
have
don't know when he
Shawshank
said that,
Redemption.
yeah.
We have,
But this was already, Misery had already passed when he had said this. So
I mean, he's had a lot of really good. I was talking to Connor about this today because, like, there was a point there where Stephen King was one of those guys where his movie was coming out and people are like, Stephen King, another one of his shitty movies. But like Carrie, Christine, Dead Zone, Misery, Cujo, Shawshank. Like there's been a ton of really good Stephen King.
Shawshank overrated.
Stephen King
Oh my God, I
movies.
love Shawshank. I'll watch it
overrated.
anytime it's on. That's good.
I mean, there's shitty ones. There's Lawnmower Man.
Yeah.
There's Cat's Eye.
There's something about
Cat's
Lawnmower
Eye,
Man that I
Cat's
like,
Eye.
but I
The
like
one-
Cat's Eye. Yeah.
Not Cat's Eye. The one where they're out in they turn into cat people. Is it cat people? It might be.
I think it
called
might be Cat
People.
People.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know that one.
Firestarter.
Firestarter, good one. Yeah. And they had good cast too, and good people of the era and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why he got that reputation.
Cat's Eye was the one who was multiple stories.
Yeah,
right?
Robert Hayes had
Yeah.
to walk around the outside of the
Yes.
building.
I want to watch
Drew
that
Barrymore
again.
was
What
the.
year was that? Is that before this?
It might be 82.
She
we not
was.
do
it
it?
might be
Why did we
later.
do it?
It might be later.
I think it was after ET. She was a little
Yeah,
tiny
she
bit
had to
We
be
have
older.
all
right.
these phones down here, and not one of us is.
Oh, and James Woods had to quit smoking.
yeah.
And they chopped off his wife's little pinky
Yeah.
joint. and
Real
stuff
quick,
like that.
speaking of James Wood,
Great movie. Love that movie.
we don't have Videodrome on our list for 83 for horror.
We can add it. We're just
Yeah.
starting horror right now. We can cut some of the shittier horror movies out. We had like Jaws 3 and Psycho 2 and some of those
Yeah,
not that good
and I got a
stuff.
couple other ones I want to add into that were not on there. But what was I looking up in Cat's Eye? Yeah, Straight Cat. What year was it? 85.
Oh, okay.
So we still
wow,
get
that
to
much
do it,
later,
yeah.
huh? That's a good one though. I looked up today. Stephen King, Carrie came out in whatever year Carrie came out. I read every single one of his books, including Cujo, until it's crazy. I was showing Connor everyone. 1992 came. That was Gerald's Game, Dolores Claiborne, and something else. And that never read those. Never read anything by him ever again, except for the Dark Tower books for like 20 years. It's crazy how I read every single one of his books
Let me just stop.
growing up, and then just stopped.
Gerald's Game was a movie recently. I watched it a couple years ago. I liked it. Gerald's Game.
That's
I
where
think-
she ties the woman
Yeah.
up and he dies or something
Yeah.
like that. And
There was a TV show of one recently that I liked, the Dome. That Dome one.
Under the Dome.
Under
I-
the Dome.
That was decent.
That-
Even the TV
show
series, the
was
first
with,
season was decent.
Was
I
it Hank
enjoyed.
from
Yeah.
Breaking
Yes,
Bad?
it was.
Yeah,
Right,
okay.
yeah, he was in there. Yeah,
I think Michelle and I started
enjoyed
that.
that first season. I remember, but then
The first season, yeah.
I think it got canned after the second
Yeah.
season, but I didn't see the second
But
season.
they did Castle Rock on Hulu, maybe.
I saw the first
The
season.
first
of that
season I
also.
liked, and then I tried the second season, but I didn't like it.
I can definitely tell you exactly why I stopped reading Stephen King books, because Carrie, Cujo, Christine, they're like 250, 300 pages. Under the Dome, over 1,000.
Wow.
11/22/63, over 1,000. It's just like, dude, I don't
Stop
have
it,
like
yeah.
6 months to dedicate to this book, because that's how long it's going to take me to read 1,000 pages.
yeah, that's a lot.
But I did read all the Dark
That
Tower
takes
books.
a lot. You
and
got to dedicate a lot.
I read
of
The
time
Stand.
To
That was the longest book I'd
That's-
ever read.
That's
And
like
since-
1,500 pages,
Yeah.
but that is worth every
Yeah.
page. That's my favorite book of all time. I love that book.
It was really good.
Although I haven't liked either adaptation, the Gary Sinise like 1990 version or the
I liked it different
New
things
one.
about each one of them,
eh,
but not overall. There was a lot of, but I also forget the differences from the book and the movie.
Yeah,
After
it's
all
just-
these years.
I
but-
mean, great cast in both of them, but
Yeah.
the first one had Rob Lowe and
yeah.
Molly Ringwald and
Sponge Patrick Starfish
yeah, the dude from Coach. Yeah,
Dauber.
yeah.
At one time,
Can't
here you
remember
go. I
his
got shot in the same Mendocino, California community as the film Dead and Buried. In fact, in one shot, the Pinto can be seen driving past the same church with the Reaper-shaped steeple that's featured in Dead and Buried.
Oh, that was a really cool scene where he saw her with Steve,
Oh, and then he turned-
and then
Yeah.
he turned around. And they were gone already. I was like, Did he not see that? Are
Yeah.
we supposed to assume that he's like gonna just be like,
He was just dreaming
eh,
it,
maybe she wasn't fucking that guy? Because
Uh-uh.
I mean, obviously she
but
was.
she was.
Yeah.
and that guy was a dirtbag.
Yeah.
He basically was raping her.
He was
I mean,
Well,
Trying to,
definitely
yeah.
the last scene was a rape where she knocked over the
Yeah.
whole milk thing and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I just got one question: yes or no?
Yeah. What was it? Yes, that it's over?
That's
or
so
yes,
funny.
did you
I
think
sleep
it
with
was-
him?
did you
That you were
sleep? Did it
cheating.
happen? I think
Michelle and I were
it's gonna
joking around
happen,
about that. Yes or no? You were the one that broke the milk container. Yes or no? He stuck it in your butt. Like, there's a lot of
Christ.
interpretation to a yes or no question.
Bannerman's played
But
by
I think the yes or no was like,
Tom
are you
Skerritt
cheating
plays
on me?
Bannerman in the Dead Zone.
Yeah, okay. And Ed Harris played the same exact character in Needful Things. Or no, the next sheriff in Needful Things.
And they used Caro syrup dyed red for the fake blood.
Some of those dogs looked. It was funny how some just looked wet. They're like, just wet him down and throw him out there, and then they'd have to do the close-ups, and it was all caked in their eyes and stuff like that.
The Saint Bernard that was featured the most in this film died due to bloat during production. It says died of bloat.
No.
Is that something? Bloat?
I know that their stomachs can flip and bloat, and I think that could kill them.
But was
I
it
don't
because
know.
they were like caking his face with a bunch of shit?
It doesn't say if it was from that or anything. It just says that the one that was featured the most in the film died of bloat during production. So
Well, it makes me sad
they
now.
can't.
I know.
They
Thanks,
can't put
Jason.
that thing at the end of the movie where no
animals
were
are harmed.
Well, we didn't harm any animals. He
Yeah.
might have died on
Yeah,
his
so
own.
it could have been natural causes, right? That bloat could be a natural cause kind of thing.
And nobody in that family, even before the mother and son left, noticed anything wrong with his face. Like at one point,
Well, the kid did in the fog there, right? When he
Yeah.
said something was
but
wrong
even
with
She said
before
not
Cujo.
to tell
that-
her. She said not to tell the dad.
it was a couple days before he kind of got like that. And when the two buddies were talking
He had
and
the big
Cujo was on
mark
the
on the
floor, he had
nose.
like pus or
Yeah.
something. Like
He looked
nobody
bad.
cared. They all deserved to die because they didn't take care of
The
their
red,
dog.
they had the big red mark on the nose.
Yeah.
I did kind of feel bad for the dad dying, only because in the movie he wasn't an asshole. In the book, you're rooting for him to die,
Oh,
but
I was rooting for him.
yeah, right, all right.
I was like,
He was an
he looks like a
asshole. You didn't
jerk.
think
He
he was
could
an
die.
asshole in this?
Yeah, he's kind of an asshole.
I
but
mean, what was
not
that
enough to
line?
die.
I'm pretty sure it was bourbon, broads, and baseball.
Yeah,
And I was like, ugh.
booze,
I mean, like-
booze and broads. But
I
that-
mean, change
that-
baseball to like football, and I'm down. Like,
But the way he treated him in the when they were eating dinner, he was yelling at him.
Yeah,
just like
yeah,
you
he
could
was
tell
a
he was an
jerk.
asshole.
Yeah, they didn't really show, but you just got that feeling he was a dick of a father.
yeah.
And I was all for it. Yeah. Chew his face off.
when he's getting killed, the dad Joe, right? Joe,
Mhm.
Joel.
in
Joel.
Joel. Oh, I thought it was Joe.
I thought it was Joel.
Well, whatever.
Uh.
When that guy goes to Gary's house and he sees Gary's dead, and then he goes running around the kitchen and grabs the phone,
It was Joe.
and then has to like start paging through the phone book. I'm like,
Yeah,
dude, you don't need a
it's
phone book
zero.
for 911.
Even if they didn't have 911 yet, you hit zero and you asked the
He
operator.
starts going through the phone book. I'm
Yeah,
like,
like,
what are you
who are you
looking for?
calling?
Police? Like,
Yeah.
I have to go to pee.
The red convertible driven by Vic is a 1974 Jaguar E-Type, also known as the XKE. It has a 12-cylinder engine, produces about 272 horsepower, and could accelerate from 0 to 60 in just under 7 seconds.
I thought it was funny that he had a little tire.
Uh-huh.
He had a little tire wobble, and they got that car fixed. But
Yeah.
her car is like
Or she drives
dying
the son.
as it's driving.
Whenever
Yeah.
you go like this, I like this.
Hey,
is fun.
hey, you might need to get that looked at. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe get that looked
That was
at
one of the
first.
things she screams. Why did you get my car
Yeah.
fixed? Remember
Yeah.
she yelled.
Her car should have been fixed first.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah.
the, the
It's a
dying
Pinto.
Pinto.
It's a piece of
Yeah.
shit.
it needs to be
Pinto.
fixed every
They
6
live in
months.
this giant house on the water.
Why did they have a
And
Pinto?
Why he's got some fancy car, which even if it is 10 years old, those cars still are
It's a Jaguar.
expensive.
That's a nice vehicle.
And he's driving her, and she's in a freaking Pinto that doesn't work, driving the kid everywhere,
Well,
having affairs in the Pinto.
He's the sales guy. You know,
Yeah.
he's the
He's
executive,
bringing in the big
ad
bucks.
exec. He's the ad exec. That's also what Angela Bauer did.
Oh,
Funny.
really?
Yep.
She was an
So
ad. She worked
Jonathan
in
was
a-
the child of 2 ad execs.
Yeah. How about that? Just put that together.
I can't believe you remember she was an ad exec. That's
Listen,
insane.
I know my 86.
I remember
hacks,
Tony
bro.
Danza was the maid. That I
Yeah.
remember. And Mona was the mom.
Mona
Yeah.
was the mom. Yep.
Slutty
And Robert
mom. Slutty
Mandan.
mom.
Robert Mandan tried dating Mona in that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember that. I did watch Who's the Boss for a long time, though. That was one of my favorite later 80s shows.
Yeah.
There's a brand new life around.
I can't get the words, but I can.
Yeah.
I can hear the music in my head
There's
for
a
sure.
place and time and a time for living. Take the time,
You, my friend.
Something-
My sister just
I'm
texted
kind
me.
of going into the Cheers
The
theme
nights
now.
are long, but you're wide awake. Brand new life, a brand new life around the bend.
My sister just texted me. We'll go from the left because you'll know it. So, what was the name of the arcade in the Quaker Bridge Mall?
Oh, I know.
Oh, well, I never, as a kid, I went to Oxford Valley and it was called
Spaceport.
Spaceport.
Okay.
Spaceport,
All right.
yeah.
Is that what it was in Quaker Bridge too?
Yeah.
Oh, so I guess it was a
I don't know
chain
why.
of
I don't know why she's
arcades.
asking me that out of the blue. She just texted me, "What's the name of the arcade at the Quaker Bridge Mall?"
She's
And she
probably
said,
like
"Oh
some-
my, of
Is
course,
she doing some trivia or something? Is she
maybe
like bar
maybe.
trivia?
Oh. I was actually. It's funny you should bring that up. I was watching Family Guy the other day, and Quagmire was hosting a trivia game.
Who else but Quagmire?
He was hosting a trivia game at the Drunken Clam, and he's like, "Okay, we're gonna start this. Put the phones down. Everybody, put the phones down. Okay, the first question. Please put your phones down. All right. So I got phones. I've asked nicely a couple times, please, and finally he like just freaks out, and, like walks away because no one will put their phones down. I was like, oh man, that's pretty funny. I've been to some of those trivia nights, but I try not to cheat.
Nah,
I'm there to show how smart I am. I don't
cheat.
want.
I would want to win.
Yeah.
We've mentioned this in the original Stephen King novel. Tad Trenton dies of dehydration.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah, and I think Steve dies too. I think he ends up going over to that house.
Oh.
The cheater, the Chuck
Yeah.
Norris looking guy. I think he
Because
ends
he
up,
just gets picked up by the police in this one.
yeah, I think he
Yeah.
ends up and by the way, good police work. He definitely admitted to trashing the house. He definitely admitted to breaking and entering, vandalism. But we think he's telling the truth about not the kidnapping. I'm like,
I believe him.
The cops were just like, I believe him. I'm like,
believe
you
him.
believe him? He's guilty of every other crime, and now you're just like,
They're like, but why-
but he's not a kidnapper.
He
He's
admitted
a
he did everything
burglar, a
else. Why
vandler."
would he admit that he did that?
Obviously kidnapped those people too, even though he didn't. But those cops don't know. Shitty Maine cops, local yokel Castle Rock cops.
That's what Stephen King said. If he could go back and change anything from one of his books, it would be letting Tad live.
Yeah, I heard he was happy they
He
did
would
that.
he would want to have Tad live instead of dying. In the
I want. Did Stephen King actually have a hand in the writing of the script of the movie? I'm not asking
I'm not
like you know.
sure,
I
yeah.
wonder if he was like, so if you could change one thing about my book, I'd really like you to not have the kid die at the end. And they were probably like, yeah, we weren't going to have that either, man. Don't worry.
The new sheriff appeared in Dark Half. That was Michael Rooker.
Oh,
93.
Marco Rooker was Dark Half. Okay.
And then Needful Things.
That was Ed
also
Harris.
93 was Ed Harris. They
Yeah,
were both
yeah,
93. The Dark Half and Needful Things.
All Castle Rock sheriffs. That's a good group of sheriffs there.
Not
Michael
bad.
Rooker, Ed
I don't mind
Harris.
them being on my sheriff squad.
Especially back then, they were like probably like 30.
Yeah.
They were rocking. The dog Cujo knew to hide as soon as the cops started rolling up.
Yeah.
He got up and hid.
You were-
I was like, and by the way, I mean the cop was a buffoon, but
Yeah.
he had the higher ground. He Obi-Wan Kenobi'd that Anakin Cujo and was still not being able to handle the dog. He dropped his gun like a dummy, and
It was just
that
it was
cop
just a
deserved to
mess,
die.
Yeah.
Cop deserved to die. Gary deserved to die. I didn't think Joe deserved to die. And that's it, right? Those three. That's it.
I think Joe does.
That's kind of a
deserve to
low
die
body
for
count for a horror movie. Now that I think
It is
about
a low body count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that first time Cujo, like when they're in the car and they're not getting out of the car because
Yeah.
now they're in that he attacked the car the first time. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit! I jumped. I was like, oh, that was a good
Yeah.
jump scare.
And he
I
did
like
bite
that.
her. So she
True,
has to
yeah.
go through rabies treatments.
That is
those are
true.
which
shots
she
in
did-
the stomach.
Back then they were, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard now it's a little easier, but
40 years ago.
That's it's very painful right through the stomach. And like I think a series of them
Yeah.
used to have to
I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
He probably just said, "We'll put you down, honey.
Yeah.
I'll marry someone else."
It was a
You're
good run.
Right?
We had a good run.
Tad's second mom.
I'm gonna go hang out with
much
I'm
better.
gonna hang out with Steve. Oh,
Well then
Isn't Steve like in jail for burglary and vandalism?
yeah,
I
for
hope
van-
so.
Like,
how many
yeah.
pillows did he use?
Did they
to
just
do
let
that?
it- did they
How
just
many
let
pillows
him
did
go?
he cut open?
I know.
They have a lot of feather pillows. I mean,
That would be a very disappointing thing to happen here, man. They cut the pillows open. It would be just those like memory foam things. Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not as impressive.
like damn it, you're throwing them all around and trying to cut them. And just like,
They've had to try harder.
the book has supernatural undertones too, doesn't it?
Oh, really?
Well, yes, but the supernatural overtones are, if I remember correctly, the bad guy from the Dead Zone, because this takes place after the Dead Zone, and the bad guy from the Dead Zone, I think they infer that his spirit went into Cujo. That was what possessed him. I still think it's rabies, but I think there's like they tie the Dead Zone to Cujo together, and they're saying that the soul of the bad guy from the Dead Zone after he died went into Cujo. I think he's mentioned in the book a couple
Christopher
times.
Walken.
No, because he's the good guy.
Yeah.
Is it who is the bad guy in Dead Zone now? I haven't seen that in a
Martin
long
Sheen?
time. He's the one running for
Anthony
president.
Zerbe.
Maybe that's him. Yeah, we'll find out soon because we're going to be watching that this year too.
Yeah, I was actually going to suggest, do we want to do that next with Dave?
Oh yeah.
That was one of the ones that Dave wanted to do, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should
So,
put these Stephen King ones all out back to back to back.
For our next one, that'll be on our next if he's available.
Oh, okay.
We'll do Dead Zone with Dave next
Yeah, I'll ask him.
because that's also streaming on Prime.
Oh.
So we have that one. Yeah.
There's no one streaming service for the Kingiverse. They don't put all
No,
this
not
shit
yet.
on one thing.
Not yet. I'm sure that'll come out soon too.
Well, like Dana was saying before, there's the Castle Rock show on Hulu.
I think it was on Hulu.
Which was kind of good, but kind of not. Like they were trying to, like the Shawshank Prison was in it, and
Yeah.
they kept talking about people. Like it took place today.
Yes.
It wasn't like trying to redo all the movies. It was just saying like, oh yeah, this is the place where that rabid dog killed those people, and that clown was killing those kids back in 1958 and stuff like that. And so the story took place after that. Like someone was
that in Derry?
It was in Castle.
Yeah.
Rock. It was Castle Rock. It was called Castle Rock, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
show's called Castle Rock, but
And
they did
like
talk
there was
about
someone
it.
like locked in Shawshank, right? Like in the prison or
In
something
the
like
basement
that.
underneath.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the detail now, but
One of the Scars guards.
yes, there was
Alexander
the same
Skarsgård
the
was
same
in it.
Skarsgård as
Yeah.
it. The same Skarsgård.
Bill.
No, it was the.
It was a different one?
No,
thought it
I
was
think
the
you're
same
right.
one.
Bill Skarsgård.
I can't
was
remember,
in it.
but I
thought it was the
think
same
you're
one.
right. Yeah,
and it was
yeah.
at the same time that it was coming out. I was like, why are they making him not it? Because he wasn't it in
He
Castle
called it. He
Rock.
said, "Not it," and that's what he was in it.
Great. There's a point in the end of the movie where a little bit earlier in the movie, Cujo shatters a window almost completely, but
Yeah.
it doesn't actually break. But at the end, she can't get her kid out of the car, so she's trying to break the back window, but
She could've
there's
just broke
already
that
a
window.
broken window.
Yeah,
But how did they went a lot further after that window was shattered? It would have took one pull, slightly hitting that window for the whole thing to just come right in.
Yeah, that one that was already hit.
Yeah.
That was because it basically broke. It was shattered.
Yeah.
It just needed to be
touched a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it would have just fell.
But
all
then
out,
he
yeah.
started using the door handle too.
He
like,
bit the one
He
handle
bit
off.
the handle to like he
He bit the one
learned how
handle
to-
off, and then he opened the other one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see Jurassic Park? Those raptors open
Uh-huh.
doors into the
Yeah.
kitchen.
Yeah.
Animals are much smarter than you think.
They
They can
are.
open doors. They know how to handle handles. I look
why
at
I'm
my
scared- I'm
dogs now
scared
and
for these
they don't do
robots.
shit, man. There's nothing.
There's robot dogs that are out now, man. They can do everything.
Robots.
They're
Well,
scary.
Robots, they're much
Yeah, but have
different.
you seen those robots try to deliver people's food on the side of the road and they can't
yeah,
get
they
around
do that.
something?
But you see
Like-
these other ones that are opening up doors and
Yeah.
everything. Those are the scary ones. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm old. Like I'll be dead long before this technology.
I kind of
Yeah.
want to see it happen.
Oh,
I want
no,
to just.
no.
I want to get myself just ripped apart by a robot. You know, that's how I.
If
wanna
I
go.
die by a robot, I'll be okay with that. I'll allow that to happen. That sounds like a good way to go. I mean, it would suck at the time. But
yeah, but it'd be like, no way, I'm getting
my
killed by a
obituary will
robot.
be great. Like
Like you'd be hiding behind something. Like, wait, I'm trying to hide from this robot. And
he loved movies like Blade Runner and Terminator, and surprisingly, he was killed by robots.
everything he loved comes back to
Everything
kill
he
him.
and a lightsaber was shoved up his ass. D. Wallace swung the bat very Shelley Duvall style from
Yeah.
Shining.
Wendy Torrance.
I never really knew
You
that.
like the
Noticed that
Shining?
before that.
The Shinning. Maybe if I pronounce it that way. Do you like the Shinning?
Oh yeah, I love that movie.
But like
yeah.
she had the bat going after Jack with the bat. She had the same bat.
They had the
Oh, it's the way they
The
Oh, I
way
didn't
they're
pay
holding
attention.
it, not
Same
kind
stand.
of like I don't know. I get mad at people when they don't know how to actually hold the bat correctly and swing
Oh.
it correctly.
Anytime if you're watching a movie or TV show and you hold a bat and you could tell that they're going to swing and it's just going to be like when it's down,
Yeah.
swings like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, no,
Like when-
show people that actually have an idea what's going to be happening.
When you're trying to hit a person or a rabid dog, holding with both hands is the worst idea. Hold it with one. You got a much more bigger range of motion, and then you can like
I feel like you're
Whack!
afraid you're going to drop it.
you hold tight. I was
Wow.
mad at her, but then it broke and she stabbed him. That was fun.
When
And
when
as soon
they-
as she didn't put a bullet in the dog's head outside, I was like, well, now you're just leaving
Yeah.
this open for a jump scare later.
Why they don't
Of course,
kill
it
the, why
has to
they
be a
never
jump
kill,
scare.
why they never kill the animal or the person at the end? It's
Yeah.
always
And how that
It's always
dog was
coming
like,
back, you know that.
I know he's injured now. He's been stabbed,
And he
he's
knows
got
they're in
rabies,
there.
and he goes flying through the window because the door he could have gotten right through the door.
he had already gone
Yeah.
through that.
that was
door, right?
broken.
Yeah.
It would probably have been easier than the kitchen window that he would have had to jump through. But then she shot him. Good job.
I got a little when he got stabbed.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh,
I mean, none of this was the dog's fault.
I know.
I mean, it was. He was dumb to chase after the
It
rabbit.
ends way too abruptly, though, too, doesn't it?
I know.
Like you kind of want a little ending too after, like.
But I really appreciated
like
the fact that she
saved
saved
herself,
She was
yes.
the hero.
Yes.
Like the cop didn't save her.
No.
Her
He
husband
didn't
didn't save her. She was
Yes.
the one that actually ended up.
What do you
I
mean
like
he
that
hasn't
too.
said anything? He hasn't reported into you.
But I was really like at the end there, I kind of forgot the end. I'm like, is he going to get there in time and save
Yeah,
her?
I
I'm like,
couldn't
that's going to
remember
be
that
shitty,
either.
but she's the hero.
Her being the hero
Yeah.
is way better. Yeah.
Because it was Dee Wallace in Cujo.
You know, it's funny.
Cody Wallace.
It came up and it said starring in a. I'm like, did they really not say the woman's name first? And even Danny Vitar. And then I was like, wait, I have to rewind because how could
Oh,
they
you
skip
missed
her?
it at first?
Yeah, and then I'm like, no, they did it again. And I said, wait, no, I rebounded again, and I guess I went back far enough, and I said, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
she's
there's her name.
before the name
I was
of the
like, this
movie.
is some bullshit. Her name is
No.
not the first one up there.
It was so before.
Yeah.
Like she was the first one mentioned. I
Yeah.
don't know when's the first woman ever to be the first in the credits like that? Like it wasn't Judy Garland in The Wizard of
That's
Oz
exactly
or anything
what I
like
was
that.
just thinking.
Was
I don't know. If it was.
Sigourney Weaver? She wasn't even.
Yeah, because I don't
right?
think she was. I mean, you had bigger stars like Tom Skerritt and Veronica Cartwright, Party of Four.
Cartwright.
Yeah, but I was really impressed by her. I think I remember when we talked about E.T., her name was first in the credits there, and I was even kind of like, good for Dee Wallace being like first overall, because
Yeah.
you could make the case that Henry Thomas should have been the first in that, but he was a kid, so he probably didn't have as good an agent.
Did he get like an introducing?
But Drew Barrymore might have.
Drew
Didn't-
Barrymore she stole like her scenes in that. She was
Yeah.
awesome in E.T. Rewatch that.
But Danny Pintaro got an introducing.
Did he
right?
get in this one? He got an
I
introduction,
believe he did.
think
This was his
so.
first movie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was just adorable.
and good actor,
Yeah.
screaming like a maniac.
Yeah.
How do you get a 5-year-old to be like, all right, now
He was actually 6, but
Danny,
yeah.
okay, sick about it. Hey, Danny, so nothing's gonna hurt you. We're all
Yeah.
good here because there's not an actual rabid
This
dog.
is all
barking.
make believe.
It's all. There's not even a dog on set there. It's just like, hey, okay, so Dee's gonna hold you now, and I need you to scream like she's chopping your foot off.
Yeah,
But also, don't hurt her when
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
bite down when she sticks her fingers in your mouth. Don't bite down.
when
And he said, listen, someone sticks something in my mouth, I am biting down. Oh, no, wait. No, never mind. I take that back.
He was 6. Stop.
Oh, sorry.
yeah, he was good. I wonder what they did. They had to have scared him somehow. I mean, he was screaming for his life.
I've heard
It was-
stories about
it was
like
I turned
so
it
good.
down.
like
Me
Danny
too.
Danny
It was too
Torrance
much.
in The Shining, like how they got his reactions and stuff like that. It was all like it was like a carnival on, you watch The Shining and his face and his wide eyed, and they were like sitting there with like hand puppets and just being
Yeah.
like, and he was like, "Ooh." I don't think I have any more notes.
I'm pretty much running out. Are you good? Do you have anything
Yeah.
else?
No.
Brian, did you have anything you wanted to add? Do you have any sound bites or anything?
No, I didn't get.
Brian,
any
you were very
sound
quiet.
bites.
Did you actually watch this movie tonight?
I
Last night?
I did.
Christine, watch with you?
No one watched.
No one
it
watched
with
with
me.
you? All right. Do we want to get into some scores then?
We can do scores.
All right. Who wants to kick us off?
I'll go. Let me go.
All right. Yeah.
I have Tara score
Tara
too.
score too?
Yeah,
Okay.
we watched it together. I really, really like this movie. I thought it was one of the scariest things. I was anxious the entire time I even thought about stopping it. Like I needed a break because it was the crying and the screaming and the dog. And so I will never watch it again, probably because I was really like, it really
So
bothered
was that
me.
good that you
Yeah,
watched
like
it again?
I don't, yeah. So I give it a 90.
Wow. Good
Wow.
job. I like
Tara
that
gave
score.
it a 92.
Wow.
90,
nice.
not also 90, the number 2.
Wow.
Very nice. Yeah, they both
Yeah.
really liked it.
I thought it was really
see,
good.
yeah.
Really, really good.
I'm going to go next.
All right.
I love this movie as well. I didn't give it as high a score as you guys. I would watch this movie again. Danny Pintaro, great in this. Dee Wallace, amazing in this. I think everybody that was in it was pretty much great. It had that real 80s feel to it. Obviously, it wasn't 80s, but it had that, that grittiness to it.
For sure.
I gave it a 78.
Michelle and I gave it the exact same score. That's never happened before. Usually because Michelle doesn't understand what 1 out of
Yeah,
100
it takes her a
means.
while to understand the.
Like I say 1 out of 100, she's like 243. I'm like, okay, let's
She's
start
like,
over.
She's like, I'll give it a B.
So I wrote my score down as soon as the movie ended and looked over at her. I'm like, got to give me a score. So she gave me the score. I'm like, I wrote that down just for me. So we both gave it a 75. Okay. I don't think that's a bad score. I mean, I very much enjoyed this movie.
My 78's a good score.
I would very much. I would watch it again. I understand why Dana would never watch this again. The animal cruelty that might actually have happened.
For them to give it a score that high and then not want to see it again, it's interesting.
It's because it pulled that. It was scary to me, and it made me very emotional. And I don't want to, and we're not happy emotions, so I don't ever want to experience that again. But,
it was kind of like depressing. Like you're just like, oh man, this poor dog.
Like, I want to go watch Beethoven now. I really do.
And this movie is
you should
like
clean the palate, right?
This movie is like a little long. Like there's a lot. I mean, it takes them a long time.
The beginning part, get to I agree.
Cujo being around, but you have to. I mean, it's an hour and a half movie. You have to like set up some.
There was a lot about the marriage. And the
it was about
affair.
40-some minutes before they got the car to Camber's.
When they brought the
40,
Pinto there,
or 44-minute mark.
So you're talking halfway through the movie. Now they're all of a sudden going to get to the scary part.
Yeah.
And from there, I liked it. I mean, I liked the whole movie. I did like the whole movie, but it took me a little bit to get there.
Well, I normally like my Stephen King with, supernatural, but like you said, The Kid was really good. Dee Wallace was really good. I'm going to give it a 65.
All right. That's good for him.
That's pretty good, yeah.
No, I really thought I wasn't going to enjoy this as much as I did. Like when we decided last week to do Cujo, I'm like, we probably should have started with like Christine.
How about if we start off with Dead Zone?
I have much better memory. Well, I've seen Christine in the last like 5 years, so I was kind of like, I know I like that. So when we started doing Cujo, I'm like, all right, I don't know, but I liked it. I might watch it at Halloween. I might do a Stephen King retrospective.
Stephen King Halloween night. That's a fun movie night.
And now we're doing Dead Zone next?
We're going to do Dead Zone with...
I don't think I've seen
Dave.
Dead Zone.
With Dave, yeah.
Christopher Walken and Martin Sheen and I forget the woman's name in it now. Damn it. We'll get there.
But Christopher Walken's creepy looking.
And it'll be the first Christopher Walken, so that means we're going to do a lot of Christopher Walken. I don't even know if that was Christopher Walken.
We'll have to bring our best Christopher Walkens. We'll work on our own Christopher Walken impersonation.
You had no sound bites tonight, and that's fine because it wasn't that kind of movie. But what did she keep saying to him? She had some kind of phrase she kept saying to him.
It's over. It's done.
Get over it or something like that. It's over.
Son, get over it. Song they were singing about the heinies, something with the heiny over the heiny. That was the song.
And then he had a whole saying for the closet.
That was in the
situation.
The parental guide. It said that the curse words. They said heiny twice. I was like,
they also said fuck 18 times, but heiny's going to get you.
I thought it was weird. Heiny's bad, but Spreaker's not, because that's where you can find our podcast. Spreaker, download us, rate, subscribe, review, do all those fun things. I am the Jazoo over there on Instagram, Jazoo74 on Twitter. This has been the Exciting and New Podcast. I'm Jason.
AE Gonzo 1970 on Instagram, AE Gonzo 1 on Twitter. I'm Andy.
And I'm Brian, Papa Bad Kitty.
And I'm Dana, Dana Caps 77.
Follow her.
Threads.
On Threads.
On Threads.
Instagram.